dragging. You better get over close to that, Jack.
He does.
Hey, I know that. He killed 5 of mine. I already killed last year, right? Remember that? I saw 5 birds be shot again before they hit the ground.
I don't let him get away. I've seen them birds.
Yeah,
like
get away. Pretty small at him. He's a hide.
Yeah, just leave them in there. I've got another pack on me. Big old tape. I mean bullets or shells. How many shells you got on you? Got a box on me. I just put that thing. You think box shells?
That's our second day starting out to hunt. Pretty, ain't it? Alright, put him back in.
You should let me have my gun out.
front of us, there's about 50 pheasants. And the wind's blowing 900 miles an hour every day. "4,000 miles of nothing but open land." And you ought to seen Tom. The dog pointed him and he jumped the fence and like to knock the door off the truck. He was crippled this morning, but he got well right quick.
Yeah, he was faking it. Good till I had to lift in it, you know. That dog topped that fence, he was off. Boy, I bet that dog, he just rolled over that fence. Just looked at it. So he was right there. Thing I see is up there. I don't know if you didn't see him fall off that truck. That was pretty good, too. He was trying to get you.
I mean, did you kill 15? Plays at home? I never even seen 15. It's hard to see them in there when you're sleeping.
There's Doug getting his snack.
Good stuff, too. All chocolate. No fat.
Yeah. Pretty mean stuff.
Well, you got up early.
Cold, I get up, stomach rolling. I pretty good go back. I come over.
Eating his ice cream.
Yeah.
Well, he's got water.
There you go. That's all I can handle.
I got you yawning. Showed he's tired. He's sitting there talking to that Indian, asking where we can hunt pheasants at.
We killed me any bird today.
Rub his head, maybe it'll bring you good luck.
Ow. Ow. Uncle said.
Bye.
Yeah, you got his elbow down.
This is our favorite part of the day right here, dinner time. Well, now everybody grab a bird and hold it.
Yeah, grab a bird.
Come on, bring him up.
Sure give me one that looks really bright.
You want to Tom no head on it?
Yeah, get that son of a bitch. You shot his head off, Tom.
Pretty bird.
Tom, you want to say anything about being a cripple killer? No.
Triple killer Tom. Dog chaser Tom.
Dog chase, Tom.
Truck faller offer.
Must have been Roger when he got over the car.
Pretty bird. Get a head on that. Circle. Get a head on that. You want me to
properly. Think to yourself instead, do I like this? Does it feel good to me?
Sit. No, I didn't say lay down. Get up. Come on. Wait a minute. Don't get her laying down. Come here. Sit. There you go.
Did you get the dog? Charlotte?
Yeah, I got the dog.
Get the dog.
Jack and Charlie chopping wood.
Get the other dog. Get that dog. That dog, there we go. Boy, the wood, where'd it go?
And the new friend we found out here in the middle of the woods. Mary Carey wood.
Come on, dog. Very good. I gotta take the sweater off. Good, shut it off, that's good.
How to shut it off?
Push the button, you're still recording.
Yeah, I'm still recording. had done it. Here, girl. Here, girl, come here. Here's a stick of wood. Carry it.
Thank you.
To the house for you.
Just wait till we get all this. Better let it live, boy. God, lay out here like you want to poke that something. Better, yeah, you better get better footing yourself.
Oh, you like Eat your heart out, Jerry.
I'm going to put it sideways, so it.
The catch of the day.
You got it.
Okay. Bluegill out of that pond. Bluegill, believe it or not. Out of that pond.
I already pushed it. It's on.
Okay, just leave it on there. It's recording. That is bluegill. We call that pond down there by the tower. Believe it or not, Jerry.
Show them which one Mom caught.
This one, the little one.
Oh, no, they didn't. I did.
Oh, now, I didn't
The one
catch
Mom
that
caught.
one.
They're
Down
lying.
there.
They're lying. I caught the biggest one.
I caught this one.
Mom caught that one. Mary caught the other one. I caught this one.
Do you believe that?
That's the biggest bluegill I've seen in a long time. Look how he had these pieces.
Push the black one now. You ready for me to push the black one? Huh?
Push the one on top of your finger, the other one now.
You're ready for me to push it, huh?
Yeah. It's still recording.
Well,
You're getting the ground.
The black one won't go in
All
there.
right, push the red one. Come here, look at me, buddy. Come on. Come on. Another supper being prepared. Cabbage and hamburger.
Well, I'll tell you, we look beautiful when you be taking our...
Hey, you hillbillies now.
Did you ever see Jack?
Sipping white wine, short as feet. Look at him.
Sure, make it good. Eat your heart out, Harry. I got your house shoes on.
Let me tell him why.
No.
Said no.
What do we do boil with you, Harry? And I'll make nice fingers.
That's my problem.
You like fried chicken?
I don't care, but I don't mind frying. So do you have anything in Nashville? All right. With forks.
You know, old-fashioned potato man.
Your first night of starting the deer season.
You guys just don't sit down. Hell, I'm ready to start eating. Go ahead. Well, that's when I dropped on the ground. Yeah, that's what. Cornbread should be ready here in a couple.
Better get over here, there ain't gonna be nothing left for you. Everything I gave
I'll tell you one thing, I'll get some cornbread and milk.
Down here, you can't reach the table with your belly. Nevertheless, while he's trying.
Tastes like you know what, but that's just the way we like it. You know, some corn and beans and such, son? You want me in here, because I'll stuff a stock in your mouth.
You want the thing I can tell you? You're welcome. I'm sore.
Well, I'm here to tell you, Jack, if little Jack starts cutting loose like he did last night coming down here, you're going to have a bed partner, or we're going to lay him on this tabletop out
I
here.
don't want little Jack in with my gun. I'll tell you what, he's too goddamn messy.
Man, that kid, boy, he was
That's
good.
what you want. I mean, just go in, like that, like the show.
Window too, I do. That's what I say. Freeze it, freeze. Yeah, we're getting there. We're down to the pot's base. That's the other thing. Yeah, I know. Hey, Dad.
Good old breakfast.
Country breakfast here. Cracker Barrel's got nothing on me. Cracker Barrel's got nothing on you. I don't know.
Just a hell of a lot better looking waitresses.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, old hairy leg thing like. Nuggets, you know of.
I'm gonna get off of this. That's right, Johnny. I thought you were chippy.
It didn't bother me so much you run the door, but you just sat there on it after I told you was on it. So, I mean.
Yeah, I take one of the gravy too.
Need a ladle? You have a math ladle?
Ah, hell, you just have to look in there. I don't know what's on what.
That's the first buck of the season. Had to be Jerry. Larry got one, now we're going to go look for it. Jack missed one last night. He knocked the hair out of it, but he didn't get it.
Get a bigger one this year. Nice.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Or lay down.
Get on your knees and make it look like it's big near.
They could say anything they want. It's the biggest one hanging here.
Hey, somebody left the diapers on that thing. Take them off.
What the hell year is it? 94 deer season. First buck.
Almost a buck. In another couple of years, it'd have been a buck. Right now, it's just a buck wannabe.
Buck wannabe.
Indian these guys has got in them now. We're going to look for a big buck Larry killed or knocked down. It's a blood hunt. We're trying to find a deer. Okay, here we go. Nice buck.
Must have been the buck of steel, because boy, I knocked him down flat on the ground. Must have made an impression 2 inches deep in the ground. He got back up. Took off. about southwest right now.
Finds it happens. Yeah, you can't walk that far. We have to run out of gas. Bitch. Huh? Yeah.
Either that or you know what? Yeah, what? I was thinking about going back down to the bottom there and taking going to the left.
Back in that way.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It's really,
Yeah. You know the cliff he's talking about. They move the bottom of the hill. He's talking about the lake. You know my life. You know the first pine forest you run into?
Hunt season 1994. Supper time. Fried rabbit. Cooked by the chef of the evening, Jack Cap. Yeah, I ain't no chef. Larry Caps, Mr. Florida, 1989.
I'm gonna get rich. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get me 100 male deer. I'm gonna get me 100 female pigs. I'm gonna put them together and I'll have $1,000 bucks.
Moving right along.
100,000 bucks. Something like that. 100,000 bucks. That's what it is. I'll have 100,000 bucks.
100,000 bucks. Everett Pinnick, Illinois deer hunting. Hunter.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Let me go over here and show you Everett's deer stand. We're following into the woods now to get to Everett's deer stand. Here's Everett's deer stand. Here's a close-up. There it is. Now everybody knows. No fair poking me, Everett. Look at him. There's his deer stand. Gene, this is what he did. Backing on out of the woods now.
Tell me a joke now. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Prove to the armadillo that it could be done.
That must be a Florida joke. We'll move right along. Where is Mr. Impatience? The boy. There's Mr. Impatience. The only time he stayed in the deer stand as long as he was told to is when the coyotes were around. Otherwise he was bailing out.
Yeah, okay.
They're getting ready to go home. 4 times what he needs, but he's got enough. Gene, you get a shot of this? This is proof positive he can do it at home. And he's good at it. I want to get a shot of this right here. You see this area here? Charlie says next time he comes down he's going to have a big notch cut out of there so Everett can sit there. A picture of the weapons. let's get a little close up here and let's go a little closer. This weapon here that we are focusing on now is the weapon that likes to shoot big bucks and watch them run away. This weapon right here that we are focusing on now is the one that likes to shoot does and watch them run away. This weapon right here, this is the one that likes to knock down bucks and watch them stay.
Yeah, I was telling the truth.
I am telling the truth.
Diapers off it and wipe his butt. His mama cried home in.
I am telling the truth. It was a small, wily buck.
Yeah,
It took a lot of concentration and effort to bring in.
Yeah,
The restroom. The reason we're taking a picture at this mirror, and I'll just slide around here, try to get a good focus on this. And this mirror is because this is the Master Buck Killer 1994. Here we wanted to make sure everybody understood this is a guy that saw 5 deer and took the 300-yard shot.
That's the hole.
Actually, it was more like 60 or 80 yards. Desperation shot. One that swears that does can fly. One that swears that bucks cannot die.
I shot the buck of steel.
The buck of steel. This is the cornmeal mix that will make the cornbread that will feed the Buck Killer of 94. Potatoes that will make the mashed potatoes to feed the Buck Killer of 94. This would be the steamer. Don't listen to them other voices. This will be the steamer that will cook the rabbit that will feed the Buck Killer 94.
To the 1994 deer season, November. Going on, getting ready to go home. We didn't want to, but we have to. Like loading up a semi. Only little buck we got. Jerry got it. First morning of season. Which he's always lucky. Larry knocked down a great big one, but we couldn't find it. Jack hit one, knocked it down, we couldn't find it. And as usual, I missed. Loading old Betsy up. Second season's first morning.
First morning, second season. Little spiker. 2 spikes and 2 does. Buttons.
One big doe.
Young deer, be good eating.
Oh, you betcha.
Good eating there. Got 4 of them this morning.
Yeah, he did.
Almost got my record.
You got some beautiful shots on them.
What for, Chad?
Piled up like cordwood.
Jump in there and tag that one. That'll go. She's going. Get that hand. Go mark shot. Little buck. Go mark shot. He's looking at that. Take care of you, boy. It's alright, where's yours at, Chad? Which one did you shoot? Cabin. No, I think Dad's got
What a beautiful little cabin.
We'll take it down and we'll go check the other thing out. Come back and get this one. guy. We're down there at the goddamn cabin and deer hunting and ain't doing job.
I'm glad he picked that
Not
stand, so
missing
he'd
it,
still
not
be trying.
missing any names,
I
right?
said, I knew I should have picked that other
Nope,
stand.
wouldn't have cleaned many of them.
Well, you would have, I left them.
Right.
I walked all the way up the hill to get Chad and make him help me, and then I remember he had a broken arm when I got up there.
You want some butter, Charlie? It's in the icebox.
No, I just.
Hey,
I
I
was
believe him when
looking
he says,
at
I
that.
want to help him, and I get it out. Get up and shot again.
I'm gonna do anything. When I'm talking to him, he turns it off.
Please don't show the rest of it. We'll have a Jack take a picture of that.
That ain't no way I'd eat a cold spaghetti sandwich, I guarantee you that.
Put her on the sell tickets for admission.
Yeah, really.
How you doing on there?
Don't smile.
Dougie, hold the barrel up in the air, son. Hold the barrel up. There you go. You always hold the gun up like that.
Now, don't you smile.
like it.
Don't you smile.
You're gonna have to get a different hat, though. Nope, that
Bigger than that running away from me. Yeah. No wonder I missed him.
got a lot
He's gonna put the horns on him again. He does that every one more. Big old deer.
Man, I'll tell you one thing, that sucker's got a pair of racks.
Yes, sir.
Mountain?
Yeah.
All right.
Money.
That occurrence is called a rosette. See if we can create another one here in our pressing towards the darker. Now here we're going to have a little bit of a buildup, so what I'm going to do is take the iron and sneak underneath, flatten that first, and give it a little bit of a press. We don't want to press all the dimension out of our sewing. We want to directionalize the seams, be sure that there are no pleats where we've pressed the seams to one side. Then we will be ready to quilt. Now let's get back to this area here. I've had to press this seam towards the lighter unit. If there's any show through on that, what you can do is take your scissors and just trim off a little bit, very carefully, of this darker fabric. That way the lighter fabric will act as a shield, and it really shouldn't show through too badly on the right side. Now let's flip our block to the right side and check for any pleats that might have occurred here on the seams, and just give it a little bit more of a steam press before we go to the batting and backing. I'm hardly touching the fabric. The steam is doing most of the work. You don't really need much pressure for this. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat. It needs to be pressed, but not to the point where you've taken all the dimension out. Hand sewing gives you a nice soft seam, and it's good to leave that look in. There. All finished. Ready to bat, ready to back, ready to quilt. There's nothing really mysterious about drafting a pattern, either a new pattern or redrafting an old one to another size. You should know something about pattern drafting at this point, and you should know how graph paper can help you with this sort of thing. Before you get to the graph paper and your drafting, though, let me just tell you a few basics. You should be able to pick up, by looking at a block, how it divides itself visually. You've probably seen terminology like 4-patch, 5-patch, 9-patch, and it doesn't mean a thing. It's, as I say, there's nothing that mysterious about it. Pattern drafting basically is the ability to look at a block and divide it visually. This block, for instance, is the very basic 4-patch division. We would classify this a 4-patch because of its vertical and horizontal division. However, Noticing the two corner units here, this also divides 4 ways, so this would also be a 16 patch. 4 divisions one way, 4 divisions another way, 16 units. Your basic 4 patch is often a 16 patch. Next block, the Ohio star or the variable star, is a very definite 9 patch division. 2 horizontal and 2 vertical divisions, giving you 9 units throughout your block, your basic 9 patch. See how that works? This is a little more complicated. This is called a 5 patch. The reason it's called a 5 patch is that you have 5 divisions horizontally, you have 5 divisions vertically. Let me just block out part of this for a minute. Take a look. You can see the 5 divisions there, like so. You could also call it a 25 patch, but quilting terminology calls it a 5 patch. Even more interesting is the 7 patch. Not too many patterns divide visually into 7. This would give us 49 units. This one does. This is the bear's paw, and it is considered a 7 patch. Again, pick up your divisions like so. Now, if you determine that you want to create your bear's paw in another size, at this point you come over to your graph paper. This is a pad of graph paper. Comes in pads this size or larger. It's divided into a grid of 4 squares per inch. For camera purposes, we have overdrawn the heavier lines and this one corner so that you can see the divisions. But your graph paper pad is ruled in a very light pale blue. They're visible when you're working on them, but not to the camera. This will give you an idea, though, of the size of the grid. It's a 1/4 inch, 4 squares to the inch, very easy to work with. What you do basically is simply decide on your graph paper the finished size of your block. You will be making templates from this, and they have no seam allowance, so you're working with finished sizes throughout this process. Decide the finished size of your block and proceed to divide it visually and then with a ruler and pencil. Your lines are drawn. Play around with it. You will be astonished at how easy it is. Do try to do some pattern drafting, if not a totally new pattern. Take one of the patterns that you're working with in class and try to change its size. That will be a good introduction for you. Let's take just a few minutes to review this session before we go into the assignment for your next class. We've seen a number of quilt blocks pieced with straight seam piecing. We've talked about fabric, we've talked about color, we've talked about fabric selection basics, pre-treating, pre-washing. We've talked about the tools and the equipment that you will need to make your first quilt blocks. We've learned how to trace patterns, cut templates, trace the templates onto fabric, cut them with our 1/4 inch seams. We've done some piecing so that you have a basis for beginning to piece your quilt blocks. And so I would say for the next lesson, get your tools and equipment together, buy your fabrics, buy at least 3 fabrics. Try to stay away from the plain and the print and the pin dot. Try your hand at mixing 3 prints. Don't be afraid to mix your patterns. It's only one block. If you don't like it, you can do something different for the next assignment. Be sure that you pre-wash your fabric, and if you want them to keep their fresh new look, remember the spray sizing. Remember the sharp shears. In Lesson 2, you will learn to quilt your first piece block. You will also learn to piece curved seams via the marvelous Drunkard's Path pattern. Our method takes the mystery out of curved seam piecing forever. Thanks for being with us for Lesson 1 of our video quilt making series. Until Lesson 2, happy quilting! Welcome back to the video instructional series on quilt making. This series of 6 lessons is designed to provide you with all the information you need regarding tools, materials, and techniques. In Lesson 2, we'll be sharing through show and tell. We'll be learning the techniques of curved seam piecing, and we'll be quilting our first quilt blocks. I'm so eager to see your first blocks and to hear about your feelings as you piece these. Ann, do you want to start? Show us what you've done.
Well, I just started on these
that's
3
nice.
colors, and I
Such
did
a nice
find
block.
that you have to be very accurate when you cut out your triangles and your squares, because if you don't, why then they won't come together in the corners. So I did learn that.
It looks very good, though.
It's a
Well,
charming
it's nice.
block. It's just a charming block. Did you have any problem with your checked gingham? It's usually kind of a challenge to work with checks, and here you are doing your first block with these, and you've done real well with them, too.
No, I never even gave it a thought.
Really?
Just try to get it on the straight,
That's right. That's right.
and then you're all right if you get it on the straight.
But if
at
you
one
don't,
color.
it's not really I like your combination of fabric and the center of the Ohio Star. That's a nice block. But it isn't, you're right, it's not one of the easier ones to piece because you do have all those corners to converge. It looks very nice. Do you like it?
Yes, I like it.
Well,
After I
congratulations.
put it together, why, I was kind of proud of myself.
Oh, well, you should be. You should be. It's
Didn't
not.
think I could do it.
I'm glad you surprised yourself. No, that's a very nice block. You should be proud of it.
Oh, thank you.
And Pat, how did your project go?
Well, I bought 5 colors. I started out with this and then
those
took
wonderful
colors that would go with it.
fabrics.
And I started, I put
Oh, that's a
gold
pretty
here
block.
first. And then I didn't like that, so then I put the green there. And then I put the gold.
Gold
I
can be
ended up with
difficult. Yeah, gold can be difficult. It can be very absorbent and just take over. That's a
The fabric
stunning
was
block.
gorgeous.
Just a stunning block.
It was fun to do. I liked the colors.
Uh-huh. And that's one of the most wonderful types of prints to work out of because you have all those directions you can go color-wise.
Yeah, I like that print.
If you have anything in the gold at all, you could possibly bring that into a border or a framing situation if this is going to be a single block project. But that's worked out beautifully.
I was also thinking about having half of it gold too, but it just didn't look right.
It might disturb the symmetry just a little bit. You have such perfect balance with your colors and all, right?
That's probably what the problem is.
I like that a lot. I hope you do too.
I do.
A good mix of prints for a first attempt. That's great.
Thank you.
Virginia, how was yours? Oh,
I had a good time with it. I also found that you had to pay attention to the grain lines. I cut my triangles so they were going in opposite directions first, but that was easily taken care of. I couldn't quite believe, I'm so used to making knots, that I couldn't quite believe that it was okay just to backstitch. But I got used to that, and I had a good time.
your quilting thread is not so slippery that it's going to pull out. If you do a good backstitch and leave a tail, you're fine in your piecing and quilting without knots. It will hold. That's a nice block. A good mix of fabric. And again, I can just see that you worked out of the medium blue print and into all those other colors. No, don't be afraid to mix your prints. If you like them, they're going to work together and have some perfect examples here. Well, you've just done so well. Show and tell is always so much fun for me. And Joan, how was yours?
I found something a little different than I'm used to on Miss Paisley. I just love the Paisley.
Yes.
And I found it real difficult to know where I wanted to put the light and the dark and played around with it a lot. You know, I want the green going down the center or but
That's the way to do it, though.
this would be more predominant.
No, that's a happy combination, and you are getting things ready for Christmas, lucky lady. I wish I were as organized. Yeah. No, those good, strong colors are great in the Road to Oklahoma block because it's such a strong block graphically, and it just adapts so well to that type of color and print. And it also provides us with a wonderful example of how to cut up a large-scale print into small units and use it so totally effectively. Don't be afraid to use your large-scale prints. They're great. It's nice, nice balance for your calicos, dots, solids, and whatnot. Do you like it?
Yes, I do. Like I say, it's a different color combination than I'm usually working in. But I like
There are some good Christmas prints around this year. The colors are deeper and richer, and I think they're a lot easier to work with than the primary reds and the bright green. It's a good combination. And how about you, Kathy?
Well, this is what my finished project
Oh,
is like.
wonderful pastels. That stripe, I love it.
By the time I put the pieces together in the fourth square, I figured out how to put the pieces together in the right order.
Well, you know, as we've said, you learn by doing, right?
Absolutely. But for me, to put 3 different printed fabrics together is pretty new.
You feel then that you made progress over
Absolutely.
the last few days since the last session?
Absolutely.
Marvelous. You have overcome a barrier.
And the fabric choice is just excellent.
Yeah, that's
I like it.
the motion you have attained with that stripe is nice. It's an unusual stripe too.
A little bit more contemporary.
Yeah, very contemporary. And with your new house in the near future, you're getting ready for that. A nice block. I really like that.
Thank you.
And Muriel,
This is
another
pretty square,
star.
And my first attempt, I hesitated getting too elaborate. So I just stayed to the 2 colors.
Very traditional.
And I like the crispness of it.
Yeah.
I did have a problem in this marking pen. It bled through on the outside.
Oh, you use the water-soluble pen.
Yes.
You probably don't need to use that on very many fabrics for marking your seam line. It's a good tool to use when you're using a quilting stencil or for marking certain fabrics for quilting. But you know, for marking seam line, your number 2 pencil or a color erase pencil is probably better. I'm sure it'll come out, but it's just one more thing to do. You know, it also makes a rather thick line for seaming too.
I didn't do anything to it until...
It'll come out. That won't be a problem. As I say, I don't think you need to use the water-soluble pen for marking your seams. You can go to a pencil. There's something about the combination, though, of muslin with your gingham and calico that is so traditional. And those star points are so crisp. That's a nice pattern.
I enjoyed it. For my first attempt, I found it very enjoyable.
You've had no problems with the corners, or things seem to match really well.
Yes, right, yes. I didn't have too many problems.
Well, gingham is not the easiest fabric to work with, and both you and Ann did real well with those checks. A very nice, clean, crisp line, because if you don't stay right on the lines with your woven checks and plaids, your block doesn't have that clean, crisp look, and without that, your geometric piecing just doesn't come off. Well, I'm just very pleased with what you've done. I hope you're pleased with yourselves. You're definitely ready to move along to the next step of batting, backing, and quilting, and getting into curved seam piecings. Is there any question that any of you have that we haven't answered either in class or in show and tell? As we can do that now before we move along into the next process. Okay. Well, if you do, by all means, ask away at any time during the class, and I think we'll just move along into the next part of the session. Your blocks are just tremendous. Show and tell is most educational for all of us. We're going to do some curved seam piecing during this class session, and I'm going to introduce you to a wonderful group of patterns called the Drunkard's Path. Drunkard's Path is generic. The group of patterns is made up of different sets with, again, very charming names. I think you will enjoy the names. The framed block is called Fool's Puzzle. The block is made up of 16 pieced units, curve to curve, wonderful technique, with just the change of one pattern piece. You come up with Solomon's puzzle. Totally different. The only thing that is different actually is just the placing of the color and the turning of the corner units. Fool's puzzle, Solomon's puzzle. Take your choice. Sometimes both of these are called Rocky Road to Dublin also. There's a lot of overlapping in this pattern. The pattern's been around forever, but it was particularly popular during the late 1800s when Carrie Nation and her colleagues were trying to eliminate saloons and all that sort of thing. They really objected to the name of Drunkard's Path. They tried to change it. They tried to call it Rocky Road to Dublin, Rocky Road to California, but you know, the change just never took. It just never gelled, and it has remained Drunkard's Path with each of the sets, and there are probably hundreds. Someone once fed this into a computer and came out with 600 different ways of arranging it, 600 different sets. So you have all kinds of possibilities for this pattern. This with the diagonal movement is called the chain. Same pieces, same curved units, but a different kind of arrangement.
You have to be very careful when you're putting these blocks together.
You absolutely do. This is probably one of the trickiest sets to work out. And again, as you did in lesson 1, lay out all of your pieces before you put any of them together. From there, you will put your curved pieces together, then you will arrange your pieced units together into the block and put them right back into sequence or you will lose it. The mistakes, incidentally, are called quilter's errors, but I don't think you want them to show up in your blocks. Adding a third color can add some dimension too. This set is called Around the World, or sometimes Harvest Moon. And you can get the feeling of the harvest moon by the pieced circular unit in the center. This is very graphically explicit. This is a contemporary variation, and it's a falling timbers, rippling water arrangement with the tricolor, again working out of the print. Curves are a lot of fun to piece. They're a lot of fun to quilt. When you're quilting, you will probably want to emphasize the flow of the pattern, whether it's a contained square or whether you have a lot of diagonal movement. You have a lot of artistic freedom in quilting that design. This is an absolutely wonderful set because it has so many names. It is called, among other things, Country Husband, Drunkard's Trail. There's probably some connection there, who knows. Again, Rocky Road to Dublin, and also Robbing Peter to Pay Paul. In other words, you're taking a light from one square and putting it into another and then returning it. A lot of your Drunkard's Path sets are of the Robbing Peter to Pay Paul situation. This large wall piece can be called either Around the World or Cleopatra's Puzzle. These are larger units now, and it does expand your design quite a bit. What you've seen so far have been 3- and 4-inch units. These are 5-inch units. Very, very dramatic. And your large areas of solid fabric here give you some wonderful opportunities for creative quilting. Well, a lot depends on your set. If you use a monochromatic color scheme, sometimes that third color will kick in and just absolutely spark the rest of them together. But as I said, you have a lot of room for creativity in piecing this pattern. You'll find the curves very compatible with all kinds of prints. The other thing you might notice in Drunkard's Path is that some of the sets have a vaguely Moorish Oriental feel, and if you want to use a large-scale print, as has been done in this pillow, cutting up a large-scale print gives you a wonderful, wonderful feel of the Oriental. And this is a Falling Timbers, Rippling Water, Vine of Friendship variation. Marvelous set. But again, don't be afraid to use your large-scale prints, because especially in these curved units, they cut up in a very dramatic fashion. It's just really very nice. And once you have learned to piece your curved seams, there are some other patterns too that you can go into. I think you'll enjoy these. It's creative, it's fun, and there are some wonderful curved seam pieces. This is a very old pattern called spools. Some quilt historians will call this Indian hatchet, but that's such a bloody, wicked sort of name. I think I prefer calling it spool. And that's quite graphically explicit too. But can't you imagine the fun you would have in quilting and binding the edges of a design like this? This is also a super way of using up any scrap fabric that you might have, because 1 or 2 units of a fabric combined with all the other things you like would be just a wonderful way of putting together hit or miss scrap. This one is wonderful. The name of this pattern is called Hearts and Gizzards. You know it's a country pattern, right? Marvelous little curves. This is a contemporary variation. The colors are super. Again, your large-scale Toodle cotton is terrific. Was traditionally done in a small print blue calico with a whiter muslin contrast. Well, it isn't. It's not difficult when you know the technique for curves. You do have the prospect of matching all these intricately, because unless your corners match, your design just isn't going to come across. But piecing curves is a lot easier than it looks. In fact, most students are totally amazed to find out that curved seam piecing is easier than straight seam piecing. It just seems to flow. I think you will enjoy it. This block is made in the orange peel pattern, or Lafayette orange peel. The pattern does go back to the 1700s. Originally, it was made in orange and white. Very effective in a contemporary combination. Like, again, your large-scale print with your motifs somewhat centered is very exciting. Your solid areas, again, are just good foil for all kinds of creative quilting. Another use for your curved seams is in the robbing Peter to pay Paul. In other words, you're taking a bite from this one and giving it to this one and trading back and forth. This was also a traditional block in the blue calico and white muslin, but again, it adapts beautifully to contemporary fabric. And when you have units this size, employ your large-scale prints. The border on this is interesting, and I call your attention to it because if you see anything like this in your fabric shopping, pick it up. It's not a border print, it's a repeating stripe. You can cut these fabrics up into all kinds of striped sequences. You can use them as strips in log cabin, etc., etc. A good repeating stripe is a valuable addition to your fabric collection. And later on, when we do mitered corners, look what you can do. It's a lot of fun to use these. And you can cut just as much or as little as you want and achieve all kinds of different effects. Marvelous idea. I really like to use those. Another Victorian pattern with curved seams, in addition to straight line piecing, is your Victorian fans pattern. This block is made up actually of 4 quilt blocks. They can be directionalized in other ways. In a small grouping, though, this seems to be quite effective. Fun to piece, not difficult. I know you will love curved seams. In another color combination, you have a different look entirely. A little bit sun-faded here. It lives on a wicker chair in my house, but your calicos mellow. They don't really fade. They just achieve a more antique look. So don't be afraid to have your things out. I mean, what's the point of making something to put it on the closet shelf? I have a theory about that. I think if you pack your quilts away, they wither and die. They have no life of their own, and why have you made them if you're not enjoying them? Isn't that fun? Then we can go on to the next sequence of our class. Before we get into template making and fabric marking for our Drunkard's Path block, take a look at the pattern boards on the easel. Look at the interplay between the dark and the light, how your contrast defines the design. Fool's puzzle on the end, wonderful little shapes defined here by the placement of these corner units. Same two colors in the diagonal vine of friendship, but look what happens when you introduce a third design element with the green fabric. So let's make our templates now for Drunkard's Path, and just a brief review of the tools that we will need. Pattern board, plexiglass for tracing, sharp pencil, ruler, compass, and of course your paper cutting scissors for cutting plexiglass. Try to remember not to use your good gingers or your best shears on paper and plexiglass. It probably won't damage them permanently, but it will give the blades a dull edge, and you need that sharp shears when you begin to cut your fabric. Okay, we're ready to trace. Take your ruler, line it up with the line on your pattern. Remember to angle your pencil right as close to the ruler as you can possibly get it. Overdraw those lines, draw the corners. Sure those corners are sharp. You find that the sandpaper on your clipboard really is a help in holding things steady. Now, when you draw your curve, you can use a compass on this, or you can try to freehand it. What I sometimes do when I'm tracing is to freehand the line in like this and then go over it with the compass just to be sure. Because if the line is there, then at least I have a guide. I don't have to be quite so careful about having it slip when I'm using my compass. We'll go here to the second unit, straight lines first. You'll notice on the curved section of your line here, in the middle of each of these units is a notch. It's the sort of thing that you find on patterns for clothes. We use this on curved seams, particularly on Drunkard's Path, because it does give us a good landmark when we're pinning and sewing. Be sure that you mark the notches, and don't forget to mark your grain line. You can mark your grain line with pencil for now and go over it with your laundry marker later if you like, but that grain line should be on there, and it should be very prominent. Now at this point, what we can do is just reset this here and get our compass, and we can draw our curve. An architect's, a drafting tool compass is a lot more accurate than another kind. Get this set on your curve and simply overdraw it like so. That gives you a nice smooth line. Now we'll take our paper cutting scissors and we will cut our templates. Again, be careful of the angle of your shears as you do this. Cut beyond the mark line so that you're not chopping off your corner inadvertently there. As you trace around, cut that off. As you trace around the curve, be sure that you get that notch. It will be a great help in matching up. Cut beyond the cutting line. Cut beyond the cutting line. Keep your scissors straight. And we have our templates cut. Our two pieces. Then we are ready to trace the templates onto our fabric and cut out our sample piecing. Now we're ready to trace our drunkard's path templates onto muslin for our curved seam sample piecing. Tracing board, muslin, template pieces, sharp pencil. Now those grain line markings that we drew onto our template pieces are following the grain of our, you can see the threads of your fabric quite clearly through this clear plastic. When you trace, hold your template firmly, angle your pencil into that edge so that we avoid that growth factor. As we discussed in lesson 1, just being off a hair at this point can really be disastrous. You know, think about it. If you're perhaps a 64th of an inch off on 2-inch units all the way across the size of a quilt, you could increase the size of that quilt better than 1 inch. It can throw you all off. It's astonishing how that can happen. Now we'll line up our second piece here, arrow with the grain line, remembering to leave enough space between these pieces to add our seams. The seam allowances are not included on this. They were not included in our templates in lesson 1, and they're not included on Drunkard's Path. Come to the corner, angle in again. Hold it tightly here, don't let it slip. If you're using a number 2 lead pencil, sometimes the lead in some brands of pencil is a little harder than others, and if you find that your pencil is kind of dragging along the fabric, change to another pencil. You need something a little bit softer. Okay. Then, when your fabric is marked, you have this. Now we're ready to cut. Take your sharp shears, add your 1/4 inch seam as you cut. I know at this point you may be somewhat reluctant to eyeball, but do try it. It's really a necessity so that you aren't dependent on that ruler or on your quilter's quarter. They're fine if you need them, but do try to eyeball. Take it slowly and easily. The reason I'm suggesting eyeballing at this point is that we're going to do something a little bit different on the curved sides of these units. I'm going to cut what I like to call a skinny 1/4 inch. Or you can call it a fat 1/8 if you prefer. At any rate, the result is the same, and it's a smaller seam allowance on the curved side only. This is what it looks like at this point. It's a skinny 1/4 inch. Now on the straight sides, I'm going to do the conventional, usual, normal 1/4 inch. It's so much faster when you can eyeball.